You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Tuesday here in the Quad Cities. Tuesday, April 8th, the madness is over. March Madness officially done. We have a brand new national champion, Florida, doing that last night, knocking off Houston in a really good basketball game to win the national championship. So congratulations to the Gators. We'll talk more about that coming up on today's show. We want to welcome everybody for watching. If you're on YouTube watching live, we appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribing to the show. If you have subscribed, make sure you tell a friend or 2 or 10 or 20 or a million about this show we're doing right here in the Quad Cities each and every day, Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, starting at 10 o'clock Monday through Fridays. It's been a ton of fun. Over 3 months, I think, January, February, March. Yeah, 3 months into this, and we're really excited about where it's going and where it can get to. So thank you guys for joining us on YouTube. Also, if you're watching us live on X, we appreciate that as well. X has been very, very good to us. And also the podcasting platforms. If you miss the show every day, if you're hard at work like many of you are, and you can't watch it on YouTube or X, you can always download it on anywhere you get your podcasts and listen to it later in the day. Listen to last week's shows. Listen while you're working out, going for a walk, all those kind of things. Anywhere you get your podcasts, you can check us out. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, you name it, you should be able to get Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We appreciate if you download the podcast as well. Of course, we got a good show coming up today, and I look at this show as kind of like a Quad City Media Legends show. Coming up in a matter of moments, we're going to be talking to this year's winner of our OTA Bracket Challenge and longtime sports writer here in the Quad Cities. Marc Nesseler will join us in just a few minutes to brag a little bit, because he is the winner of our bracket challenge. We'll get to that in just a second. Also, coming up later in hour number 2, Craig DeVrieze is going to be on. Craig, a longtime sports writer here in the Quad Cities, also very dedicated to golf in the Quad Cities, and of course, the John Deere Classic. Of course, he recently wrote a book celebrating 50 years of golf here in the Quad Cities called Magic Happened. So we'll talk to him about the John Deere Classic, but also it's Masters Week. The Masters starts on Thursday, one of my favorite weeks of the year. So we'll talk to Craig DeVrieze about a lot of golf coming up a little bit later in the show. And it's also opening night for the Bandits at home. Their home opener is tonight, and on his way out to the house as we speak is River Bandits owner and all-around good guy, Dave Heller. He'll join us in just a little bit to talk about a big night for the Quad Cities River Bandits as well. So make sure you tune in for that. And also, if you missed yesterday's show, we had a lot of fun. Jess Settles talking about Iowa basketball, the next chapter, and a lot with Jess Settles. Also, Joey Van Wetzinga, former Pleasant Valley standout, actually the 5A Player of the Year in the state of Iowa for this year's football season. He graduated early. He's already at spring practice for the Iowa Hawkeyes. He was on the show. Great to catch up with Joey Van Wetzinga. And then it was Monday, so Pat Anger was here, causing trouble, trying to get me kicked out of youth sporting events and all that kind of fun stuff. Go check out Pat as well. One programming note. Tomorrow, really excited to have Josh Sash on the show. Of course, Josh is the one of the new assistant basketball coaches in Ben McCullum's staff at the University of Iowa. He came to Iowa from Drake, but also that last name, very familiar. Josh Sash is the older brother of former Hawkeye standout Tyler Sash. So we'll talk to him. Very interesting conversation with him and his journey to get to where he's at. An Iowa kid, a Hawkeye kid, back at the University of Iowa on Ben McCullum's staff. So that is tomorrow's show. Make sure you check out that as well. A little more college basketball news. The Illini land another player from overseas. David Mirkovic, I think is his name. He's a 6'8" forward. Brings with him quite a resume, a lot of talent. So Fighting Illini making the most of players coming from overseas, excuse me, as they have a new player for the roster. We'll talk about that with some Illini experts coming up later in the week as well. And as we did mention at the top of the show, we do have a new champion. Florida beating Houston by 2 last night. A really, really good game. And it was a good finish, an exciting finish to our inaugural Off the Air Bracket Challenge. I want to thank our sponsors, Godfathers, Snoops, and Hungry Hobo for helping us do this. And when it comes to our first champion, boy, I couldn't have picked a better dude to win. Ness, guess you know more than just football. You know college basketball as well.
Wow, who'd have thought, huh?
Well,
man, I wish I could be in the studio with you, so I could actually taste those Snoops and you know what I'm saying?
No, exactly. That's what my one of my sons in the running was a bunch of familiar people that we know, and he's like, "Hey, you should have these guys come out to the house and get all the food, get everything, and then start the show at 10." and they have to eat it all by noon. I said, there's no possible way
I love your kid.
that anybody can do that. But yeah, so I want, because it's funny. I think I texted you and I said, hey, Florida wins, and you win the bracket, and you almost had forgotten that you filled out a bracket on this one.
I did, and I had to go back and look, and man, I killed it. I really did. I mean, I had all 4 number ones, and that's usually my thing. I usually like 3 number ones and 1 number 2. But I didn't like any of the number 2s beating any of the 1s. So I had 4 1s in the middle. And then on most of the other, like the CBS, whatever that was, sports, I had Auburn and Duke. As a matter of fact, I was telling you in that text that there is a Splash app in which you had to eliminate one of your picks every round through the final 16.
Oh.
And I was all set. Auburn and Duke. Auburn loses in the final game, but they win to get to the final game, and Duke wins it all.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, this is setting up really well. You know who I had in the previous round? Florida and Houston. I knocked Florida and Houston out in the semifinals. Had I flipped those 2,
how much?
I'd do a little bit better than Snoops. I'd be getting $10,000 instead of getting nothing. But you know what? Hey, I love the glory of winning the first ever off the air NCAA bracket challenge. That to me is worth maybe not $10,000, but a lot.
It's cheesy to me, but I mean this because I got to do the Nest Guest stuff, and you started the Nest Guest stuff. And so for me to it flipped. I guess it went full circle because hopefully this little bracket thing that I'm doing can be how long did Nest Guest go? How many years?
37. I think 30, let's see. I want to 33 years, 37 years. One of those two, somewhere in there. It was in the 30s.
If I can do this for 3, I'll be happy. But to do more or less the 33 is really cool. Yeah. Hey, Ness, because I know a lot of people complain because there weren't a lot of crazy upsets, and NIL might have something to do with that. But I enjoyed the Final Four. Those were 3 outstanding basketball games.
It was great basketball. It was great basketball. Thrilling finishes.
Yeah, I'll trade that. I'll trade the crazy for really quality basketball this weekend. What are your thoughts on that? Because there wasn't that Cinderella story, but there was really outstanding games.
I really like the Valpos back when they were in here at the Mark and making their run, and the Drew shot and everything all like that. But yeah, there's something to be said for great basketball. And that's what we got was great basketball. Cooper Flagg, I would have liked to seen him see what he did in the title game. And it's okay that he's not there. I thought Houston's defense, especially when they played Duke and they couldn't get the ball in bounds and they were down and they got it in and they took the 3 and they got the dunk. And that was exciting. Yeah. That was thrilling. And I'm thinking, okay, my 10,000's gone. But hey, and then you text me and say, if Florida beats Houston, then you win. So I said, wow. Yeah, actually, this leans more toward my style of picking brackets, is that I will pick a few upsets, but I won't go whole hog getting somebody to the end, because mathematically it makes more sense to go with somebody that gets you to the end rather than somebody that you hope gets you to the end. As a matter of fact, I was looking at what I did on your bracket. If I had Iowa State going out to play Auburn, that was one. If that was my only 3 seed. I had no 2 seeds, but I had 3 seed playing a 1, and they lost. And the other one was Illinois. I had Illinois beating Kentucky. But in the entire Florida bracket, I got and then St. John's. And St. John's should have won. They benched their best player for the last 5 minutes. And just think if Florida does that with Clayton Jr., who only had 2 points up until last quarter. Yeah. Florida doesn't win. If he pulls a Patino, Houston wins. Yeah. And so there's the difference. And I was kind of glad that the St. John's kid went to the portal, because, that's it just didn't sit right with me. Plus it ruined that whole bracket for me. And the other one I had was Oklahoma over UConn. And I'll I watched too many UConn games when they blew it in the Big East games during the regular season. Watched them on TV. Thought, is UConn going to come back and do it again? And I thought for sure that they were going to lose their first round, but they didn't. They won one, and then they lost to Florida.
What I love
and only by two.
You're looking at your bracket, and instead of being happy that you won, you're trying to figure out why you weren't perfect. Like, you won, Ness. You don't have to go back and figure out the what's. You won. Before I let you go, two more things. One, we had Craig DeVrieze on the show, and it's Masters Week, and we were talking about all the people that has covered the John Deere Classic and all that kind of stuff. It's great talking memories with him. He wrote the Magic Happened, that book is fantastic. Yeah. You were out there for 1.5 million years as well. So just because we have a golf theme going on today, it is a special event still to you this day. You spent a lot of time covering golf in the Quad Cities. Yeah.
It was in 2019. And then 2021, they didn't have it in 2020, right?
Yeah.
That was the year. Yeah. It was hard for me to go back. I went out. I've gone out. And I volunteer. I now volunteer with the Quad City Parrot Head Club almost the entire tournament. I get out there Saturday and Sunday. I don't get out there every day like I used to. I get out there. I always made a thing of wanting to get and this was really dumb, but it's true. I wanted to get the #1 media badge, like the first person to be out at the course. It had the M and then the 1. And I always got, and funny thing is, there was one year, and I don't remember the guy's name that ran the media tent, the media room.
Yeah.
But I was like the second or third person there. And I was so disappointed. And he pulls out the #1 from underneath his desk because he knew it was important to me. That's really cool. That's a great memory that I've never even told anyone that before because nobody really cares.
Yeah.
But I've got stacks and stacks of those #1 media badges. I know you still have your
old school picture,
high school yearbook picture, which is special. And the funny thing there is I don't have my horrible picture. They took a horrible picture of me my first year. And my hair's askew. I had a hat. They said, take the hat off. I took the hat off. Wrong thing to do.
Yeah, you got
I had my eyes shut. It was a horrible picture. The second year, I said, okay, they tried to give me that one again, like they did you. And I said, no, I want a different one. I got a different one. Third year, guess what comes back?
That old picture.
That picture with the eyes shut and the messed up hair. Why didn't they, tear that up? Come on. Give me a break.
Get rid of that
Probably
stuff.
Hiding some John Deere Classic archive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, no, it's a special event. It's really cool. Masters this week. Do you have a pick for the Masters, which starts on Thursday?
I
put you on the spot.
No, I don't know. Murakami. I don't know. There's an app, the Splash app that 10 grand thing was on.
Yeah.
They have you pick 8 golfers, and they take your top 7 picks.
Oh.
And today and tomorrow is actually my study day.
Okay. So I'll let you off the hook.
I haven't really studied it yet, but I think I have a top 5, but I don't want to throw that out there yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the 6 and 7 are the tough ones. But there's some obvious choices.
Yeah. Scotty, those guys, Scheffler, Rahm.
Scheffler, Scheffler, I think, he's a lock, and Bryce, DeChambeau, who I still have. I think your little tractor thing there.
Yeah.
I think I have the DeChambeau one.
Ooh.
For some reason. I don't know why.
That's not a bad one to have.
I know, but I'm looking at that on your desk, and I'm thinking, I think I have the Bryce one, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
So I'd have to pick. He'd have to be in there. So
we talked last thing. We talked before when he came out to the studio that we're going to bring back Ness Guest next year.
Yeah, I kind of locked in on
Since you won it makes perfect sense. It's like a sign from God that we need to bring back Ness Guest next year, right?
I think you're right. I can waver all day long because I've been here 6 years now at the school, and it's been a long, hot while. Maybe I forgot how to, pick games or. I'll do. Yes,
it's not about getting them. Ness, it's not about always getting him right. It's about the entertainment value as well.
No, because I can, like, I think it was it Birch? I used to take on you.
Yeah.
And I always said that I never lost because my memory just seems to me like I beat you every week.
You did.
And I beat Dan and I beat, and all the others. What's really cool though is, my first day here at Quad Cities Christian, Stu Solis was a custodian, first guy I met here at school. Mm-hmm. And the first thing he says was, "Hey, I got in your contest."
That's awesome. No, you probably get that all the time. When I had you on and we talked about it, Brian Stocking was texting me.
Brian Stocking, I saw that, and he was one of, he'd won a couple times before.
Oh yeah.
And he entered religiously every single week.
Yeah.
Brian Stocking. Yep.
Ness, it'll be great. We'll get it sponsored. I guarantee you'll be lined up to one to sponsor it and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to plan on doing this. You got work to do. Congratulations. I'll get with you later tonight. I'll get you all that food, and I appreciate you doing it.
Thanks.
All right. That is Marc Nesseler, former sports writer here in the Quad Cities, a sports writing legend, a Quad City media legend when it comes to the Quad Cities and covering sports here. Our inaugural Off the Air with Matt Randazzo bracket challenge winner, and it couldn't have gone to a better dude. We got more to get to on a Tuesday here on Off the Air. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? That fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities, Tuesday, April 8th. And here's what I want everyone to do. Where they're at, I want them to take a second and look outside, and you're going to see beautiful sunny weather. Don't worry about the temperature, but you're going to see beautiful sunny weather, and you're going to think baseball, and you're going to think, man, it's a great day for baseball, a great night for baseball. And you know what? It is, because the gentleman joining me right now is the owner of the Quad Cities River Bandits and a guy I've known for a long time, Dave Heller. He's the friendly smile that welcomes everybody into to Modern Woodmen Park. It's opening night, my friend.
How
excited are you?
Oh, on a scale of 1 to 10, about 27.
Well, talk to me about that, because like we talked a little bit a few weeks ago, and an opening day was coming, and the team's off to a great start.
Yeah.
We'll talk about how they're doing, because really good baseball
Yeah,
team.
we're undefeated, 3-0.
Yeah, exactly. But it's opening day on the road is one thing.
Yes.
Opening day at home. Kind of talk about that, Dave, because there's a lot to be excited about tonight.
Yeah, there is. I'm just over the moon excited. It's going to be so great just to see all my friends and neighbors from the Quad Cities, people that I haven't seen in many months, and welcome them back to the ballpark. And as you said, our team is loaded this year, so I'm excited for them to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we talk about them too, you mentioned seeing your friend, like you, and I wasn't joking. You are the guy that is, when you walk up the stairs, and you become friends with people,
right.
And you become friends with the fans that you see all the time, and your employees too, like the people you welcome back in concessions and merchandise and all that kind of stuff. It is kind of like a get together of, hey, we went away for a little while and now we're back and we're better than ever.
Yeah, it does. It feels like summer break, when you were in school, and you get to come back and you see all these familiar faces again, and it's just wonderful.
Dave, I think before the season gets going, I think the big thing everyone talked about, and my kids including, you went over the Centennial Bridge, and you would see like dirt, and just a lot of dirt. And
right.
I remember my 8-year-old's like, Daddy, where'd the baseball field go? And there's a brand new field at Modern Woodmen Park. And I know that doesn't seem like maybe it's going to drastically change things, but the way it looks and the ability for the players to perform at their best and all that kind of stuff, it is a big deal. Talk about that new playing surface down at the ballpark.
I'll tell you, Matt, I have never seen greener grass in my life. Like, it just is beautiful.
Yeah.
It just looks stunning. I mean, logistically, it will drain better than the old field. So that means fewer rainouts, means we can get when there is rain, we can get the players back on the field quicker.
Yeah.
So those are all good things, but just the look of the grass, it's the greenest grass I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And here in the Quad Cities, as you know, in the summertime, we get the bluest skies you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And you put the two together, I can't wait.
Well, Dave, and then you like, it's so picturesque when you have the bridge in the background and the river right there, and then you add that field to it. It makes an already very picturesque stadium. It even shines it up another level.
That's right. It does. You're exactly right.
No.
And I want everybody to see it.
Exactly. And that's the chance. They get to do that tonight. So the field is new. There's always something to do down at the ballpark. Let's talk baseball.
All right.
This is a good team, 3-0, a lot of young talent, obviously. And we were talking before we started that there's some organizations that they build differently.
Right.
The Royals organization is so it does us so well because they want to draft, develop, retain, and get them to the bigs. And that's their blueprint. And that starts, or that goes through the Quad Cities, doesn't it?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, look, anybody, you don't have to take my word on this. Look at who played in the American League Division Series last year when the Royals battled the Yankees before the Yankees went on to the World Series, right? 4 of the 8 starting players for the Royals were former River Bandits.
Yeah.
Half the team.
Yep.
Right? And then various pitchers who used to play for us pitched in that series. That's the biggest testimony to what they're doing that I think anybody could offer. We were a Cardinals affiliate. We won the Midwest League Championship with the Cardinals in 2011. And the Cardinals that same year went to the World Series. And they had, I think, a dozen former River Bandits on their team, right? Which is great, a dozen. Yeah. But no starters, right? Or John Jay in center field, maybe a starter, but no stars.
Yeah.
These guys are stars, right? Vinny Pasquantino is a star, right? He's the Royals' next best player after Bobby Witt Jr., who I would argue is the best player in baseball right now, not named Ohtani.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You see those guys too, and we've had some, when the Astros were here, and we had Correas and all that. But Bregman. I think the big thing that the Quad Cities loves is you look at maybe the John Deere Classic, and they say tomorrow's stars start here.
Yeah,
that's a thing. That's not just a slogan with the Quad Cities River Bandits.
No, that's a real thing.
That's a reality, and it's not.
That's a real thing.
Hey, Major League Baseball players start here. It's Major League Baseball's best start here, and I think there's a difference. I mean, one's good. Baseball players are good. Stars are really good.
Oh, that's exactly right. I mean, for everybody who got to see Joe Mauer play here 20-some years ago, right? Yeah. And now see him last year get inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And then a generation later who got to see Carlos Correa play here. Mm-hmm. And if he continues his trajectory, he's going to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah. So it's really awesome that people will see not just future major league players, but stars, real stars. Alex Bregman played here. I mean, he's a big star.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
No, it is. And this team is playing really good baseball right now, off to a 3-0 start. And not that you go down the roster and get a scouting report on everybody, but what are fans going to like about this team? I know there's young talent, but 3-0 starts are really good. What kind of baseball team are you going to see along the river this summer?
So I'm going to get to that. I'll tell you that. I would just want to say on the subject of stars, future stars, anybody and everybody who saw Jack Caglione play last year, right? That guy is going to be a star.
Sounds different off of his bat.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? When,
like a rocket.
Yeah, you get some of those guys when they come through, or you know that they're coming in and they're the first round picks, whatever. You can tell, like it looks different. It sounds different off the bat.
He hits it harder than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Anybody I've ever seen. I mean, I never got to watch Bo Jackson play in person, but boy, it's like a rocket off Caglione's bat. Yeah. And he's starting in Double-A. They expect him to go to Triple-A by mid-season. And if all goes well, he'll be wearing Royals blue by the fall. Yeah. And that's awesome, for people who saw him last fall here, to see him this fall in Kansas City. I love that.
Yeah. And it's a quick journey. It's not like, hey, in 4 years from now, I kind of remember him being there.
Right.
Nowadays, it's a
year or two.
Than what it is than what used to be.
I mean, Caglione is going to be 1 year.
Yeah.
1 year. We had a kid 2 years ago, John McMillan, who went from us, he was a relief pitcher, went from us all the way to Kansas City in 1 year.
Yeah.
Like, they move him up fast.
Yeah.
We have a catcher. He's on the injured list right now, but he'll be back in 3-4 weeks' time, named Blake Mitchell. He was their number 1 draft pick, and he's going to be a star. Yeah. I mean, he is just a fantastic prospect. And I love that people in the Quad Cities are going to get to see and meet these kids. If they come on a Sunday when we do pregame player autographs, and they can get their picture taken or get a ball signed with one of these players, like, that's fantastic, right?
It's cool now, and the kids will love it now, and the experience is great now, but it'll be cool.
Even cooler.
In 2 years,
yes.
It's like, whoa, wait a minute, I got this. And so I go back to I'm an old guy, and I grew up here, but I remember going to games when I was younger at Old John O'Donnell Stadium and getting autographs and having it end up being like later in oh my, and one time I got to go down to the duck, just the type of friendliness that your organization gives to fans, because it is a fan experience. And I kind of wanted to talk about that too, because I got a family full of 4 boys.
Right.
So me going to a baseball game, no big deal. Mom likes baseball, and if she doesn't, she does now because she's got 4 boys and me, but she does. But there are families that's got, like, there's the baseball guys.
Yeah, let's be honest. She's raising 5 kids, right? She's got 5.
I may count for 2. I may count for 2. So if you don't have that, there's something, and I know we say it every year, but there's something there for everybody, and that's what I love too, because I've gone with big groups before where some kids will go off and do rides, and dads will sit there and drink some beers and watch the games, and moms are sitting along the river and love. They, no matter what's going on in front of them, they're having a night down by the river. It really is a family experience that there's something there for everybody. I know it's cliche, Dave, but it's true. There's something there for everybody.
It is true. And it's more true at Modern Woodman Park than at any place else, because there's no other park in America that has all these amusement rides, right? That has really any amusement rides. You'll find a park here and there that has a single deck carousel. That's it. Nobody's got a 110-foot tall Ferris wheel. Nobody's got a spinning kids roller coaster or a drop and twist.
Which kills me, because sometimes I have to ride with the kids because they have to have an adult. I can't twist like that anymore, Dave.
Dude, it's deceptively thrilling. It is. People think, oh, that roller coaster is only 20-some feet off the ground. How bad can it be?
It's the things that spin.
And it spins and it whips you around at the same time as spinning.
Yeah, come have all these delicious foods and beverages and then go get into that.
It's deceptively thrilling.
It is. It's a good time for absolutely everyone. Tonight is the opener. Kind of tell me about what fans can expect. Obviously, a great environment. And we talk about the picturesque stuff. We don't even mention the Ferris wheel when you come across the bridge. So you have the bridge in the background. You got the river. You got a Ferris wheel. You got a brand new field. I mean, it's really, to the visual eye, an appeasing sight. And today, let's talk about today for you, because I said to you when you got here, you're like, well, I was here, there, and I remembered the opening days, live shots with WQAD. You've been a busy boy here on a Tuesday.
Yeah, we have. We started at 4:30 in the morning at the ballpark, getting everybody set for QAD to broadcast live their morning show at 5 a.m. That was fun.
Did Corey get up and come down?
No, Corey didn't, but Andrew Stutzman did.
Lazy. The old sports director. No, I'm just giving Cuff a hard time.
No, they used to. It's funny. They used to actually bring the whole morning team down.
No,
right?
I remember it. Yeah, we did the whole show from down there, sports and all that kind of. It's getting lazy with that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm teasing. But So
those are your people.
No, they are. No, I'm teasing. But obviously, that's not the only one you did.
No, that's right. We did that, and then went over to KWQC, and I did an interview there, and then some radio, and then over here to do the podcast with you.
That's the thing is, Dave. It's busy, but you're smiling from ear to ear.
Yeah,
you love this, don't you?
I do.
What is it about this that just appease that you can tell it's a passion?
So it's not just the presents that kids love on Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Kids love Christmas all day long, right?
Yeah.
It's not just when they're opening the present. That's how I feel about opening day.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for tonight. I'm so happy that we're having baseball back, that the weather's good, and it's going to be great this weekend, and that I'll just get to see everybody that I've missed all winter long.
No, that's absolutely the truth. Big picture this for the summer too.
Yeah.
What does this summer look like? What are the kind of things that I don't want to don't write? I don't need I'm not asking you to put you on the spot, but what are the things that people can look forward to this summer? Because it is baseball, it's great baseball, but there's always an event at Modern Woodman Park. Baseball is the game and it's there and it's great, but there's always an event and cool things going on at the ballpark.
So one of the people that I've studied, I love history, as you know, I love American history. One of the people that I've read about in American history was Samuel Gompers, who was the head of the AFL-CIO for many years, head of the AFL before it was the AFL-CIO. And he was asked one time, what is the union going to ask for this year, Mr. Gompers? And Gompers replied, more. That was it. Yeah. What does the union want? They want more. And that's been my motto for our team. Right? What are we going to do this year? We're going to do more. I want more fireworks. I want more giveaways. I want more promotions.
Yeah.
I want more of everything. And so this year, every single Tuesday, starting tonight, you walk into the ballpark and you're one of the first, 500 people, you get a free pennant from Pepsi.
Very
right?
cool.
That's every Tuesday night. Every Wednesday night, starting in May, free Ferris wheel rides, right? When it's warm enough for, right? Free Ferris wheel rides and free carousel rides. Every Wednesday in May.
That's very cool.
Every Thursday, free pint glass, right? Every single Thursday, you get a free pint glass.
The entire year?
The whole year.
Wow.
The whole year. And you can use that for $2 drafts every Thursday, right? Every single Friday, fireworks. Yeah. And then every Saturday night, there's a premium giveaway. We're doing a beanie giveaway this Saturday, a rally towel the following Saturday, then a crossbody bag from the Quad City Airport, which is a great giveaway.
Wow.
And then later in the season, we'll transition over to bobbleheads because, everybody loves those.
Yes.
We've got a Vinny Pasquantino bobblehead this year. We've got a Teoscar Hernandez bobblehead, Michael Massey, the Royal second baseman, and Tommy Pham, the outfielder. We've got all of them will be bobbleheaded this year. That's kind of fun. Yeah. And then every Sunday, a free T-shirt giveaway and pregame player autographs and kids run the bases. And then on top of that, there are individual promotions going on different days and extra fireworks nights and things like that.
There really is more than Dave.
There really is more.
Really is more. Before I let you go, the Royals organization,
the best.
And I know that's but they seem like they seem what they do is what we do, if that makes sense. Their community is similar to our community. Is that right?
No, you got it exactly right. I was asked on your former station on QAD. We went live on the 6 o'clock news the first year the Royals came here in 21.
Okay.
And the reporter asked, they don't tell you the questions beforehand, right? So he asked me in the interview, what's it like going from the Houston Astros to the Kansas City Royals? And, we had a great relationship with the Astros. They were fine. And I said, it's kind of like you break up with your girlfriend and then you start dating Miss America. Right? The girlfriend was fine.
I would never know any of these analogies myself because I'm an ugly guy who couldn't get any girls, but I understand for the big picture.
Well, we both read a lot, right? We both are well-read guys.
Yes, right.
So, the girlfriend was fine. The girlfriend was great. There was no criticism of her. Nothing wrong.
Yes.
But now you're dating Miss America, for goodness sakes. That's what it's like with the Kansas City Royals. They are just the best people. And they are so committed to player development, and they're so easy to work with. They're just such a joy to be around.
Yeah. I got to make sure I don't get in trouble. I went from dating nobody to dating Miss America and my lovely wife, Jennifer. See how I did that? I made sure I didn't get
very
myself
nice.
in too much trouble. So give me the details about tonight before I let you go. Game time 6:30.
Game time is 6:30. Gates open at 5:45.
5:45 is the giveaway, the pennant?
The giveaway is the pennant tonight. And we're also giving away a magnet schedule for everybody who comes in.
Very cool.
And you can use that, put it on your freezer. And if you don't have a freezer, no problem, because we're going to give away a freezer too.
Have you thought of everything?
We try.
There's no kitchen sink to give away?
Yeah, we'll find one. Give us time.
Absolutely. I did talk with Dave, and the one thing we were kind of talking about is that this venue, this platform gives me more time. And that's not bashing what I used to do, but 4 minutes a night goes quick.
Right.
And so this gives me the ability to, and that's what I love is I've been able to chat with you. And this, I didn't go back to the station and do 20 seconds of Dave Heller. I got to do 15 minutes, 20 minutes with Dave Heller, which is fun. I can't wait to tell some of the stories this year of the Bandits because that's the cool thing. You get to know some of these players and where they came from, their situation, and just the places in their backgrounds, Dave, because they come from different areas and different places, and they come to the Quad Cities. And I think the cool thing is they always love the Quad Cities. All of them. None of them, wherever they're from, South Florida, wherever, they all come and they're like, this place is awesome. So I'm excited to do some of that kind of stuff.
You're totally right. There was just a TikTok clip out with Michael Massey and Vinny Pasquantino. They somebody asked a whole group of major league players, I don't know, 5, 10 of them, what was your favorite minor league city? And both Massey and Pasquantino said the Quad Cities.
Well, Dave, when I got into doing this, like all I had heard about was the horror stories of minor league baseball and going to places where, it's a dump to play in, this, that, whatever. And then people would come here and they would be like, wow, that's not. And I think that's the thing. I mean, people here, I think players here, when you get to the bigs, it's great, but there's some funky places along the way sometimes. And that's not the case, especially here in the Quad Cities. So super excited for Bandits baseball. If you haven't seen the new logo, I had it on the computer. I'd taken it away, but the new logo with the Q and the C with the bridge in the background, it's awesome. And that logo's on a lot of things in the merchandise shop as well. That's right. So get down to the ballpark tonight, 6:30 start. Enjoy a night along the river. And then if you don't get down there tonight, come back on Wednesday. There's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's a 6-game series.
Right. So, again, we've got free pennants tonight and a free magnet schedule. Tomorrow night, Wednesday, $1 Keystone Lights. Thursday, it's a free pint glass giveaway and $2 drafts. Fireworks on Friday. A beanie giveaway on Saturday, a nice cap, and a T-shirt, and pregame player autographs, and kids run the bases on Sunday. So we got something every day of the week, and the weather this weekend is supposed to be fantastic. So an ideal time to come down to Modern Woodman Park and see some really spectacular players. You guys want to know who to look for? Look at Carson Rocafort, the center fielder. Look at Daniel Vasquez, the shortstop. Yeah. Rocafort was the Frank White winner of the best defensive player in the Royal system last year. Wow. Vasquez was the Frank White winner for the best defensive player 2 years ago. Wow. We got them both this year.
That's awesome.
Austin Charles, the third baseman, is going to be a star. And our pitchers, Frank Mazzucato, who was lights out on opening night. He's here. Number 1 draft choice. Shane Panzini is back. He's a great pitcher. We have a kid named Drew Beam who skipped A-ball and went straight to Quad Cities. Wow. That's how highly they think of him. He's a top-rated prospect. He's going to move up. And their number 1 draft choice from a couple years ago, the catcher Blake Mitchell, he'll be back in about 3 weeks, and we're excited to have him too. So you're going to see a lot of future stars right here at Davenport, right here in the Quad Cities and at Modern Woodman Park.
I love it. And Dave, I appreciate you coming out here because I said, hey, come out to the house, and then it's not next door. And with everything you did, and like that little area was all, so to make the time to come out here. My wife was horrified this morning because I don't always tell her things, and I'm like, she's like, who's on the show today? I'm like, well, Dave Heller from the Bandits is coming out to the house, and she's like, not this house. It's a mess. And it's funny because I think the 4 boys and her did some cleaning this morning before school just to make it look like somebody didn't rob us, because it looks that way sometimes with 4 boys. But I appreciate you doing this. I can't wait to catch up more during the season. And once again, happy opening day, happy home opener down at Modern Woodman Park. We appreciate you doing this.
Thank you so much. Great to see you always, Matt. And I hope I'll see everybody tonight at the ballpark.
Awesome. This is Dave Heller joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We've got a lot more to get to coming up after the break. Masters Week is this week. John Deere Classic is coming up quickly. And when you think about golf in the Quad Cities, Craig DeVrieze really knows what he's doing. And so we have him coming up right after the break, right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Tuesday here in the Quad Cities.
Quad Cities, it's time to bring the noise. Saturday night, April 12th, the Steamwheelers take on the Barnstormers in a hard-hitting Union Night showdown. We're honoring area Union members with a night of football action and ice-cold beers for only $1. Union members receive $5 off ticket thanks to Tri-City Building Trades Council and Union Locals 91, 25, and 145. Round up your crew and come cheer on the Wheelers. Get your tickets at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets, and we'll see you on April 12th.
All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities, Tuesday, April 8th. It is opening night down for the Quad Cities River Bandits, their home opener. The Bandits are already 3-0 on the young season. They're back in town tonight. We want to thank Dave Heller for just stopping by. A busy guy with everything he's got going on, but awesome for him to take the time to come out to the house, join us, and talk a little bit of baseball. And honestly, the amount of talent on this team this year when it comes to the Royals organization is super exciting. So get down there and take advantage of checking out these players while they're here, because their end goal is to get to the bigs and be stars. And there's several on this year's team that I feel like could be stars in the future as well. From baseball to golf, it's a big week for golf, Masters Week, super exciting for that. And also John Deere Classic right around the corner as well. And so I felt like I wanted to talk some golf today. And when I want to do that, there's one guy in the Quad Cities that definitely comes to mind. So joining me now, a very familiar face with the old cigar in mouth and everything. It's not Craig DeVrieze without props, my friend. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate this.
Talking golf. Writing about golf, with a cigar, it's a tradition like no other.
It is. If when it comes to golf in the Quad Cities, and I'm going to give you some love here, and I'm going to have to shower after this because I won't be too nice. But when it comes to that, we always talked. Celia Palermo was on the show, and we talked about the Mount Rushmore of the John Deere Classic. In my opinion, when it comes to a Mount Rushmore, when it comes to covering the John Deere Classic, you're on the list. 41 years out of the John Deere Classic covering it. 31 years you're writing and doing all that. There's a book about the John Deere Classic you did a fantastic job with as well. We'll talk about in a little bit. But what is it with golf? Like, when was that I know you love all sports. I'm not saying you're just a golf guy, but what is it with golf and you that made it such a good match?
It really just grew out of the John Deere Classic. When in '84 I was pretty new to the Dispatch Sports staff. And nobody was really writing about the tournament away from the tournament. And that was back when they went to the phone banks and were calling around trying to find donations who would cover the cost of the $200,000 purse that they had that was pretty meager by any standard. And it just kind of flowed from there. Just really a passion for the tournament. Passion for the game, obviously. I can't play it worth a damn, but I love the game, and I love I love the fact that it's our Green Bay Packers, man. It's to have this tournament here for more than 50 years now and John Deere doing what it's done with it is just a passion, and I've been able to write about the game beyond the tournament for all these years, and I've had the opportunity to dig into the history of a couple of country clubs around here and write their histories, their 100-year histories in a book form, and so it's just been a great thing for me just to scratch that itch. And when I left the Times in 2011, I knew the one I didn't miss. I walked out of that building and I didn't miss being on the sports beat for a second. But I knew that I was going to miss having some involvement covering the John Deere, and Doug Milne, who's a great friend of the tournament, reached out to me and he said, you ought to check in writing about the tournament for PGAtour.com. And so that's ever since I left the Times, that's kind of been my opportunity to continue to write about the John Deere Classic, and man, it's been great, and I love it.
Yeah. Greg DeVrieze joining us right now. Go ahead, Greg.
I love it like you love it. And, you talk about it. I guess if there's a Mount Rushmore of sports, of golf media in the Quad Cities, you'd be on it.
No.
Birch would be on it. TJ'd be on it. Cooper'd be on it. There's a lot of great history in the golf media in the Quad Cities too.
Yeah.
So TC, can't forget about TC. He was there from the very beginning. So
yeah, I would gladly probably step aside because some of those guys you just mentioned and TC being one of them.
Big mountain.
Birch was one of the, that was my guy. Obviously that was my mentor, but I didn't know a ton about golf when I got into the business and doing it. I knew enough, but I didn't. And same thing with you. My passion grew for it as well. The Masters is this week, Craig, and we're going to talk a lot about that in a minute, but I do want to stick with the John Deere Classic because you mentioned it. When I was done at WQAD, people asked me, what am I going to miss? And Friday Night Football's always just got a special thing for me, and we haven't gone through that season yet, but it was like the John Deere Classic, and I'm planning on staying involved and hopefully having this show out at the John Deere Classic a couple times during golf week as well. So, but that's one of those things that we're lucky. We're lucky to be able to cover an event like this because you mentioned that being the Green Bay Packers, this is as big as it gets, and we get the best seat in the house to cover what a special event it is. I know you feel that same way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The memories just are endless. If somebody asked me yesterday, what's your favorite memory about the tournament? It didn't take me 2 seconds to say 2015 when Spieth came here with 2 majors in his pocket, a chance to go join Ben Hogan over at St. Andrews.
Yeah.
And he won, and it was just like, wow, this is, I said it when I wrote Magic Happened. that was the makeup for when Tiger hit it in the water on the fourth hole at Quad City. In Quad City, it was in 1996. So yeah, the memories are endless.
Craig,
going back to '84 when Luke won.
I'll agree with you because we've often said, like, what's the best year? I'll look at it like this, and you're right about Jordan winning in 2015, but I think from start to finish, 2015 was amazing because you had Bill Murray playing in the Pro-Am on Wednesday and the spectacle and just having a half-hour TV show and having him fill it up with comedy, and then knowing Jordan Spieth was on his way and he was the biggest thing in golf from start to finish. And I can remember being by that tee box on 18 when Jordan teed off on Sunday, and it was people from the tee box all the way to the green, and it was just everybody there. And it was one of the best sights that I'll ever remember at the John Deere Classic. There's great years, and Caitlin Clark was amazing recently when it comes to that Pro-Am. But don't you think from start to finish, 2015 is the year that you might remember the most?
Always. I mean, just because the national media was so adamant that he was really blowing it by coming here to play. And he said, I came here I didn't come here to play. I came here to win. And that's how I'm going to get ready for the British Open. And the fact that he got on the jet, he finished a shot out of the playoff, and the guy that he got back on the jet with, who was holding the claret jug, it was Zach Johnson, our own Zach Johnson. I mean, it was just an amazing story. And even to this day, it resonates, it was the biggest story in sports when he went to the British Open with that win in his pocket. It was certainly the biggest story that's ever happened in the John Deere Classic.
Great. Craig DeVrieze here talking Masters, and we're going to talk JDC before Masters. The book that you did write is Magic Happened. And to kind of talk about the book, because I don't know. I mean, you had to fit 50 years of amazing stuff into a book, and we can go year for year and almost write a book for every year. Was it a challenge when you went to write that? And I know it was a labor of love and you love doing it, but was it a challenge to kind of pick out the best of the best and put 50 great years into one book?
Well, we had a limited number of pages that we could print, and we filled absolutely the last page up till the last page. The inside, the back cover has actually got story on it. I mean, there was so much there, and it was really hard to distill it. And then 2021 came along and really threw a monkey into everything. And so there's a little bit of rewriting the book as it was finished. It was ready for 2020. So much story, so much history, so much great history. And it's such what I loved about telling that story. My wife was my reader, and she married a sports writer and doesn't give a damn about sports. And she loved the story because it's a Quad City story. The history of this community is distilled in the John Deere Classic, and it says everything about what's great about the Quad Cities. The volunteer force that kept that thing alive through the years. The JC piece back in the in 75 and 76 and Ed McMahon and the fighting through the years when there was no sponsor, and then Hardee's came along, and then the John Deere piece and how John Deere ties into Quad City history, which, I mean, we are a company town, and I'm not ashamed to say that anymore because I'm so proud of what John Deere has done with this tournament since they took it over more than 25 years ago.
Craig, I got to ask, if your wife doesn't like sports, why did she marry you? Like, there's not much else to offer, is there?
Well, no. You would have thought, okay, maybe I got a shot at going to a Bears game or something like that. But no, she couldn't care less. Although she does love Caitlin Clark now. So we have to, when in the summers now, we have to go to dinner really early, which we do anyway because we're old people. But she has to be home in time for tip-off.
I love it. I love that. Yeah. Hey, Craig, do you have a favorite? We'll stick with the JDC for a second. Do you have a favorite golfer? And I don't mean that as in like you're a little kid and I like Tiger Woods. Like obviously Jordan Spieth, and we talked about 15. But is there an encounter personally with a guy? I've gotten to become good friends, or I shouldn't say good friends, but I've gotten to become friends with Zach Johnson, the Iowa tie, Iowa athletics, all that kind of stuff. Zach's a good dude. I'll say another one too. I really like Jason Day. And when he ran the course in, 11? I might be getting that wrong. But the year that he ran the course and got the record, and he was so personable and so nice that I've become a Jason Day fan because of the interaction and getting to know him. Is there a guy on tour or a golfer that's come to the Quad Cities that you're like, that's my guy, I like him?
When you ask me that, Jordan is the first one that jumps to mind, but there's a Zach. There's Steve Stricker's a great guy. D.A. Weibring was an immense ally of this tournament, and his passion for putting Deer Run together and what the golf course that he created that these players just love. They tear it up, but they love it. So, D.A. is right up there. I'm going to think of the person I can't think of, as soon as we hang up. But there's so many of them.
Yeah.
It's just been a great, great experience. Dan Forsman was a great guy. Every time he came through here, he'd ask me how I'm doing, what I'm doing. It wasn't about anything but the community and the fact that he just loved this place and had his first win here. And guys like that. Mark Wiebe was a lot of fun. There's so many of them over the years. It's just terrific to see these guys. And Peter Malnati is a guy that people in the Quad Cities should embrace because he got on the players advisory committee back a couple of years ago when Liv was a real threat to the PGA Tour and certainly to the John Deere Classic. And he fought for tournaments like this because he really appreciated the community feel and the sense of what this place is and the difference from going to LA as opposed to coming to the Quad Cities and really feeling like you're the show. There's just a million of those guys that have been through here through the years.
Craig, I love it when you talk to these guys and they genuinely tell you how much they love the area and how much they love to come and how at home they feel. I think that's the cool thing because we do hear it a lot in the media. You'll talk to somebody afterwards and they'll say, I love the Big Dig or I loved doing this. And I thought it was cool last year. Jordan, like he has the little kids now and he took them to the Big Dig and he enjoyed the family aspect of it. I think it's just an awesome thing. Well, I know that the two worlds collide because we love the JDC. Every major, every tournament I'm watching JDC guys, but obviously the Masters is this week and it's a big thing. Do you kind of track the former JDC guys when it comes to big events, especially the Masters? And I know you did some homework on it'll be well represented this week with a lot of guys at the Masters as well.
Yeah, 9 guys in the field that are past champions of the John Deere Classic. And, that's one thing we do here. I think more than a lot of tournaments, it's really, we embrace our past champions. And when I see a guy like Sepp Straka winning out in California this year, and Michael Kim, what a great story he has been this year after the depths that he went through following his incredible victory here in 2018. To see him back in contention time and time again, that's probably my favorite thing to do on a Sunday is see who's in what past John Deere champs in contention and how they're, if they can pull it off. And, we just saw a past champ win yesterday, Brian Harmon. So, yeah, it's pretty amazing. And what that speaks to, and the fact that we have 9 guys in this field, it speaks to the quality of the field that is all people are always complaining about the quality of fields in the Quad Cities. When we look at those champions and those guys that are up there now and contending and Bryson DeChambeau will be one of the favorites this week. He's not one of my favorite past champions, but he is he's certainly a great golfer and he's a great story. And he's a past champ. He won here. He won his first event here. And, Jordan Spieth is always a contender at Augusta. Lucas Glover's been a fun guy to watch. The way his career resurgence ever since he grabbed that long putter which I got to figure out how to use one of those, Matt. And I can't make it save my life. In fact, if you're looking at a sleeper pick for a Masters pool this week, put Lucas Glover on your list, because he's one of the best ball strikers yet on tour, and hitting greens at Augusta is how you win. And the way he can get the ball to the hole, into the hole with that long putter, I think he's a sleeper pick.
Craig,
so just going through the list of guys that are in the field. Mike Kim, a great story. Jordan Spieth, can he put it together finally this week? We'll see. Sepp Straka's having a great year, and our current defending champion Davis Thompson is a sleeper pick as well. He's got the game for Augusta. They were saying that last year, even when he was winning. It's that is a passion to be able to watch these guys on a Sunday and know that they were sitting at the table with the Deere trophy in front of them. It's just it's a thrill. It's one of the great things about having been involved and covered this tournament for all the years.
Craig DeVrieze joining us right now and off the air. Craig, I want to talk to you a little bit about Michael Kim, because we kind of have a joke going with a few of us and our old Celia Palermo. And I don't say old as she's old. She's going to kill me if she hears that. But it worked for us at WQAD. I know. And she's doing great things with the PGA Tour right now. And she loves Michael Kim. And his story is special right now, because he did go through an awful time. And you mentioned 2019 being special. It's record setting. I mean, he's got the course record at the John Deere Classic, and he went through a lot. Can you kind of talk about him, because he's playing really good golf right now? He just qualified, I want to say, last week or so, just to get into the Masters. But I'm not saying Michael, I'm not saying he's gonna win the Masters or anything, but it's a cool story for a very likable guy. If you follow him on social media and all that kind of stuff, a very likable guy.
Yeah, and the sense I got of him when he won, what I remember vividly is the fact that he was emotional when because he had just changed coaches and he was working on a new swing, and ultimately that's what took him into the dark place for a number of years when he couldn't make a cut, and he had to come back from it. But he had it was his second or third tournament, I think, with a new swing coach, and they asked about the new swing coach, and he got emotional talking about his former swing coach and how he felt bad that he wasn't part of that record-setting victory. And he wanted to make sure that he got credit. He actually got teary, and that was like, whoa. I was really moved by that. And so you knew he was a pretty special guy. And I'll tell you what people forget. He won that tournament by 8 strokes. And one of the 3 guys that finished second behind him went over the next week and won the British Open, Francesco Molinari.
Oh, that's right.
He didn't, people think, okay, he beat a bad field at the John Deere. No, he didn't. He beat the daylights out of the guy who went over and won the British Open.
Gosh, I can remember that year too, Craig, because and so often when deadlines more than anybody else, but it was kind of refreshing to have, it's always magic happens here. And that was one of the few years where, while it was magic because it was record breaking, we could start doing our job ahead of time because he ran away from the field. Like, he played so well on Sunday. It'd be great to see him, do something. I'm not saying he's winning the Masters, but Celia always jokes, if he comes back here this year, which he's gonna, and he wins, like, then all of a sudden you're a 2-time winner on tour or here at the John Deere Classic, and you're the record setter, the record leader, and all that kind of stuff. Then you start talking about him in a big time way, and he's a very likable guy. Okay, let's talk about the Masters, because it is this week. A lot of people are partaking in the sports gambling or the Masters pools. I got a draft coming up on Wednesday night with a bunch of knuckleheads that I'm super excited about. Talk about this field. I know people see the odds-on favorite is Scotty. Scotty's not playing great right now. How do you kind of handicap this year's Masters?
When you say he's not playing great, he's not playing Scotty Scheffler great.
Yes.
Because he is playing great.
Yes.
He's got 3 top 10s. He finished second in his last start at Houston.
Yeah.
He's definitely the favorite. He's the odds-on favorite.
Yeah.
But it's golf and any given week, and he hasn't won this year, and so it looks like it could be more of a horse race than it was last year when you just knew he was coming in and going to dust it. I like Colin Morikawa this week. I think he's really in form. He didn't get it done. Where was it? Was it the Arnold Palmer? He got beat by Russell Henley.
Yep.
Henley chipped in miraculously, and then famously Colin didn't do an interview afterwards, and he kind of got beat up about that. But he's playing great golf, and he's tee to green. He's one of the strokes gained leaders, and he's certainly a guy you got to look at this week. Rory McIlroy's playing good golf. That's always a story at the Masters. It's been, 2010, he was going for the Grand Slam, and he's still going for the Grand Slam. And it's just, it's amazing how many chances he's had to win major championships, going back to the U.S. Open last year when he missed those two short putts and DeChambeau came through. He's got a chance, obviously, anytime he tees it up. A guy, I think one of the real tragedies of LIV golf is that Jon Rahm took the money, and he wasn't around last year to challenge Scheffler, and that was going to be a great 1-2 battle, I think, for the next several years. And it would, if they ever get this reunification put together, having Jon Rahm back on tour, he's the one guy that I miss that went to LIV. Koepka notwithstanding, because Koepka's just a frat boy, and never been one of my favorite people on tour, but great player. He could be a threat again this week. But I would love to see Jon Rahm come in. It's hard to judge form with LIV because I don't watch those tournaments, for one thing, and I don't know how competitive they are. But Jon Rahm has a great record at Augusta. He's the guy that put the jacket on Scotty Scheffler last year. No, Koepka won. No, Scheffler won 2 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So he won it. Jon Rahm won in 23. Put the jacket on Scheffler. So I'd love to see him show up again.
I remember, Craig, when he was at the John Deere Classic, Jon Rahm, and I remember my buddy Wheezy saying check him out, and he was really nice. He was out on a practice round maybe on a Monday, and we were kind of stalking him like us weird TV people do, and we got an interview with him, and he was extremely nice and gave us the time, and Wheezy's watch him this week whenever we're going to see him again. This guy is and he was super nice and super cordial, but he's a guy I've always rooted for because of that. So it'd be great to see him kind of get back on track and not get back on track. But you're right. With him being on LIV, you don't get to see nearly as much of a really talented guy. Is there a sleeper? Is there a sleeper?
Tommy Fleetwood.
Say it again.
Tommy Fleetwood.
Although he might not be a sleeper, Craig, I'm looking at these odds. They do this sports gambling thing. I don't know if you knew this, and
I've heard of sports gambling.
Yeah, right.
Kind of a thing.
He's probably right. I mean, he's probably top 10 when it comes to odds. I mean, yes, it's being a sleeper. It's not odds on. He's at plus 4,000. But you know what? I talked to our good friend Celia Palermo earlier, and that's a guy she talked about right away, as Tommy Fleetwood could win this thing. Talk about your thoughts and why Tommy can do well this week.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about the best player never to win a major, he's in the conversation now. As a lot of these first-time winners have been coming along. He's just a really steady player. He's always been there. He's often in contention, and he's never won a PGA Tour event, and that's still hard to believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a good player. I I think if I would put Davis Thompson in that sleeper class. He's a Georgia guy, and he's got the game for Augusta. That was something that came up more than once last year when we're talking to guys like Zach and the Georgia connections, Brendan Todd. They all said, this is a guy that can win majors. This is a guy that can play on Ryder Cups. And Augusta is a course that really suits his game. He's got that green jacket feel.
Yeah. No, that'd be cool. I don't know, Craig, if you can see the tee marker that Andrew gave me. It's got Davis Thompson signed it. So that'd be cool for me to have a little Masters champion on the desk here each and every day. It's been 20 years.
And the bobblehead.
Right? Oh, we got to get him caught up a little bit, because I said to Andrew, and Andrew's going to be here on Thursday, that I got some of the older ones have been damaged by kids. And so I know he's got all of them. Hopefully he can bring me a new toy coming up on Thursday. It's been 20 years.
It really breaks my heart.
What's that?
Bobblehead wise, 2013. In 2014 Media Day, they passed out Jordan Spieth bobbleheads. I set mine down to go interview somebody, and it was gone when I came back.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, if you're listening to this, you're listening to this, Craig DeVrieze, who's done a little bit or a lot of bit for your little tournament you do in July, maybe you can make sure that Craig gets himself a 2013. Well, and I'm going to show off a little bit here. I got this. Remember Andy Stottero, obviously. Stotts is one of the greatest people in the whole world.
No doubt.
My wife got that picture probably from Todd Meisner, would be my guess, because that's a Dispatch Argus shot of him coming out, and I think she got the pictures to Stotts, and Stotts had Jordan sign that like way back in the day, and then I got to get this up.
I wanted that picture to be.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Matt.
No, go ahead.
I wanted that picture to be the cover of the book.
But
Claire opted for Stricker, which was a great shot too.
Yeah,
doing the amazing Hulk thing.
I can sit for hours and talk about memories of the John Deere Classic, because that's what we live 1 week a year, and you probably more than 1 week a year. That's what we live. But and Andrew gave this to me. I've had it framed for a while, and I gotta get it up on the wall. But it's a Zach. It's going to go right there, if that makes any sense. It's a T flag from the year Zach won it, 2012, and Zach signed it. So I got to get. So I got plenty of JDC swag. I swear I'm not showing off or anything. I love the John Deere Classic. So when it comes to,
if you ever have me come sit in your little studio there, you might want to put that flag away, because I might. Or if I don't have, I might lift your Jordan Spieth bobblehead too.
Well, we're going to get that taken care of. If you come out to the house and you're gonna, before the John Deere Classic, you got to bring me a cigar.
Oh, you got it.
There's a window right over there. I might get in trouble for smoking in the house from my wife, but I'm in the loft.
You can't smoke in the house, man. My wife would kill me if you smoked in your house.
Well, we might have to do the show like outside that day or something. Craig, before we let you go. This year is 20 years since Tiger's memorable chip at the Masters. I don't know if you're even a Tiger Woods guy or not. So I guess first off, are you a Tiger guy? And second, is that a memory that resonates to you that it probably does to so many golf fans, worldwide?
Am I a Tiger guy? That's such an interesting question. You can't help but admire. You can't help but admire the greatness. And yeah, I'm a Tiger guy in the sense that I really appreciate just how special what he did in dominating the game for the period of time that he did. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the great Vern Lundquist call.
Oh,
have you ever in your life?
Yep.
Yeah. That was pretty special, but I more remember him 4-putting number 7 at Oakwood.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
In '96. Yeah,
Yep.
that was part of the Quad City and Quad City story.
Craig, we would keep up with that. This is gonna make you feel bad. I was at Alameda High School, and we were watching Tiger and like keeping up with that on those days, like at the school and like reading stuff in the paper. That's how big and that's how long ago it was, because I'm not young, and I was in high school, and I'm an old guy now. So I mean, but that was what everybody was talking about.
Great John Deere Classic memories. I mean, that Friday when he came down, what is the 9th hole at, or the 18th hole at Oakwood, but it was 9th hole in the tournament rotation. But it was his last hole. After taking the lead that Friday morning, his first lead ever on the PGA Tour, and it was a Friday, and there were just thousands behind him. That's a great cover of that I remember from the Quad City Times, and just the feeling of, wow, this is really happening here. This kid is this big, and he just took his first lead, and he might win this thing. That's a special memory. Special memory too is Butch Harmon, who was his coach that year, coming up to me on the practice tee while he's talking to Jaime Diaz, who's golf Bigfoot in terms of riding golf riders on the practice tee. I walk up and Butch turns to me and he says, "Yeah, he wasn't going to make the cut, huh?" Because I had written the week before that this kid is 20 years old. He's playing in his 3rd PGA Tour event. He's got as good a chance. He got a much better chance of missing the cut than he does of winning. And so there it is the following Sunday, a week later, and Butch is reminding me that I wrote that about the kid who's leading the tournament.
I love it.
And that's one of my favorite memories.
All right, and Craig, before we let you go, I'm going to do a little bit of I want to say rapid fire, but some fun questions I came up with before we let you go. If you could golf a hole at Deer Run, you can only golf one for 18. What's the favorite hole? And I'm not talking visually or to cover, but if you're out there hacking away, what's your favorite hole out there at Deer Run?
14, a drivable par 4.
Because you're driving it, correct?
Never. Never. I'm usually looking for my ball over in the weeds right to the right. Remember the weeds in the trees. There. I love that hole. It's a great hole. I love standing on that tee and remembering standing on that tee when there was nothing but dirt and trees, and Chris Gray and D.A. Weibring are imagining what they're going to do with that hole. And there was a branch that went directly across in front of the tee, and D.A. wanted to leave it in, and Chris Gray said, "You are absolutely out of your mind," because it was going to knock down 2 out of every 15 drives,
yeah,
even for the pros. But DA thought, well, man, that'd be a nice test. Yeah.
No, it's an awesome hole. Pork Chop Hill or a Whitey's Shake? What are you gravitating to more during John Deere Classic Week?
I love the smell of Pork Chop Hill, but I would have the Whitey's Shake 10 times out of 10.
You got a sweet tooth. I like that. What's the bigger? I know I got to say this correctly. The more memorable withdrawal from the John Deere Classic, Bryson DeChambeau with the bad shoulder, and I put my air quotes up, or Michelle Wee being leaving the John Deere Classic on that Friday, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Friday.
Yeah, the heat stroke. It was that was pretty epic. Yeah, I'll never forget the crowd around the trailer, waiting for a 15-year-old girl to come out of the trailer to see if she died from heat stroke or whatever. That was just bizarre. Yeah, it was definitely Michelle Wee. But Craig, better was the year that when, again, much like Tiger coming down number 9 on Friday, she's played her 18th hole was her 9th hole, and she birdied it to go to 2 under, and she was on the cut line, and Barry Cronin in the media center got a call from ABC News. Where should they park their van? Because she was literally going to be a story on the evening news from the John Deere Classic. That was a better memory.
Yeah, and you know that I always talk about those years. We talk about the Jordan Spieth in 15, and the crowds were crazy. One thing that I ended up getting from Statero was that cart that WQED has these days. And I remember trying to drive the cart around on 2015, and it was crazy because you couldn't get moving around on Sunday. It was impossible. But I'll tell you, the year that Michelle Wee was here, I mean, we had another media center up by where we're at, by WQED's trailer, because of the amount of press. And then the craziest thing was, Craig, the next day after she withdrew, it felt like the tournament was over. Like everybody was gone media-wise because all that national media disappeared. And I remember going, I kind of like this. Like I was rooting for Michelle Wee. I don't mean that in that way, but like the silver lining was we could kind of have our territory back a little bit and kind of go from there. But it was quite a, I don't want to say spectacle because I don't mean a negative connotation, but all eyes in the world once again was on little old Quad Cities. It was great. All right, here's my hardest one. You ready?
Gotcha.
Claire Peterson or Andrew Lehman?
Claire was he gave me the book, man.
Yep.
And he was just a delight to work with while in that whole process. I mean, I proposed it to him in 2015, and so I spent really 5-6 years writing that book and working with Claire on it. And so yeah, I got to give Claire the nod on that one. Andrew's great. And what a perfect seamless handoff that was. And the two great guys were putting that tournament together. But, yeah, Claire.
So I do need to point out, because Andrew watches, he's 0 for 2 now. I asked the same question to Celia Palermo, and Celia quickly said Claire Peterson. So, Andrew, I know you're watching. I know that's got to be a hit to an ego that I don't know if you've realized it, but Andrew's ego's getting pretty big there. So he might need to. No, I'm kidding. But Andrew's as good as they get. But Claire Peterson was the guy that made me one of the guys that made me go from feeling like a goofy ass kid that didn't belong to like someone that actually belonged in the sports world. A couple people were like that. When it came to Steve Rowe up at the University of Iowa, was that guy that like I felt like when you got Steve Rowe's respect and I went from being a goofy kid to like, okay, he respects what I do. Claire Peterson was another guy. Barry Cronin was actually one because I know I drove Barry freaking crazy when I was the big-eared young kid that came in and bugged him all the time. So he was like that as well.
You still do. I just to be. I don't want to burst any bubbles here, but you still drive him crazy.
No, I do. I guarantee you I do.
He deserves it. He's, yeah.
Got to keep him young.
He's a Sox fan for one thing.
We got to keep him young. I mean, if he's got the audacity to wear those damn green pants every Sunday of the John Deere Classic, we can make him a hard time here and there. Craig, I could do it.
Worn green pants?
What's that?
Have you ever worn those pants?
No. Have you?
Andrew's got a pair, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I don't know if I can pull it off. Have you?
No.
I don't think you could. I don't think you could pull it off either.
No. I can't wear long pants. My legs are too good. They're too nice,
We don't want to deprive the world of Craig DeVrize's legs. Craig, I could literally do the 2-hour show with you. This has been a ton of fun. I told you, hey, can I have 20 minutes of your time? We're on 40, and I'm completely fine with that. Before you go, one pick. Who wins the Masters?
I'm going to be really controversial here.
Love it.
Jon Rahm.
Okay. I can go. You know what? I'm gonna put $20 on Jon Rahm just in respect to my guest here on Tuesday on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I'm hoping to do some things. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing some things out at the John Deere Classic with the show. I'm going to bug you. I'd love to maybe have you sneak on for a preview show or something like that. So I'm going to bug you. We're going to get you out to the house one of these times here real soon as well. So I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And you're 5 weeks
I'm
away.
Retired, so I'm going to have nothing to do.
Is it 5 weeks away? Is that the thing?
5 weeks. I'll be retired, man. Yeah.
Maybe you
and working in my part-time job. I don't really have a green jacket. I didn't win this at the Masters. This is my work uniform.
Because you're going to be out there. That's where all the cool retired guys go. Tom Sigel's out there. Tom Cornelis is out there. Craig DeVrieze is out there. Man.
Yeah.
It's quite a. That's
if it's
quite
good
a.
enough for PC, it's good enough for CD.
I love it. I love it. And we're going to leave things at that. Craig, I appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Keep up the good work, Matt.
I appreciate you. That is Craig DeVrieze, longtime sports writer here in the Quad Cities. And when it comes to covering the John Deere Classic, it really doesn't get much better than Craig DeVrieze. A great conversation about the JDC and also, of course, the Masters coming up, teeing off in, 48 hours, a little less than 48 hours. So we got a lot more to get to. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get more coming up next right here and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Quad Cities, it's time to bring the noise. Saturday night, April 12th, the Steamwheelers take on the Barnstormers in a hard-hitting Union Night showdown. We're honoring area Union members with a night of football action and ice-cold beers for only $1. Union members receive $5 off ticket thanks to Tri-City Building Trades Council and Union Locals 91, 25, and 145. Round up your crew and come cheer on the Wheelers. Get your tickets at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets. And we'll see you on April 12th.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. A beautiful Tuesday it is. It's been a fun show as we've kind of caught up with some familiar faces here in the Quad Cities. I want to thank Marc Nesseler, the first winner, the inaugural winner of the Off the Air Bracket Challenge. Great to catch up with Ness, and we are holding Ness to that. If you grew up in the Quad Cities and you did the Ness guess like I did and like everyone else did, coming up this football season, we'll be having our Ness guess competition each and every week. I'm holding Ness to that. Great to catch up with him. Also great of Dave Heller to stop by. Of course, it's the home opener tonight for the Quad Cities River Bandits. They are 3-0 on the season. Dave Heller in the studio kind of talking with me about not just tonight, but the season, the talent they have there, and what you can expect along the river. So it was great to catch up with Dave Heller. And then also you just listened to Craig DeVrieze talk about the John Deere Classic. I could talk JDC memories with Craig DeVrieze for a long, long time. Heck, we might do an entire show on that one of these days. So great to catch up with Craig DeVrieze, former longtime sports writer here in the Quad Cities as well. And as you heard, soon to be retired as well. So we wish Craig the best of luck, and we'll catch up with him again real soon. Of course, coming up tomorrow on the show, really excited to welcome new Iowa assistant basketball coach Josh Sash to the show. Josh, of course, the older brother of former Iowa safety Tyler Sash. Great story on how he worked his way up to where he is now as a member of Ben McCullum's staff and much, much more. So we'll talk with Josh Sash tomorrow. And then also we'll talk to some Wheelers, because the Wheelers are 3-0, and it is Steam Wheeler Wednesday on Off the Air tomorrow. So a lot to get to on tomorrow's show as well. We want to thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribing ASAP. Also, we want to thank our fantastic sponsors for allowing us to do this goofy little show every day. Thank you so much for watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, and we'll be back with a new episode tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday, Quad Cities.